Today in AI, OpenAI is widening access to GPT Rosalind for trusted biodefense work. Hugging Face has a fully local voice loop for Reachy Mini. A new TRL weight sync trick makes reinforcement learning plumbing feel a lot less expensive. IBM and artificial analysis say frontier agents are still below 50% on a real enterprise IT benchmark. And GitHub Trending is full of AI media, parsing, speech, and coding tools. The hook is simple. The interesting AI news today is not one magic model. It is AI moving into real operating systems, public health, robots, training loops, Kubernetes incidents, and creator workflows.
Powered by artificial intelligence.
The lead story is OpenAI's Rosalind Biodefense program. OpenAI says the new initiative is meant to help trusted developers build high-impact defensive applications in the life sciences using GPT Rosalind, its frontier reasoning model for life science research. The important word is defensive. The announcement names areas like epidemiological modeling, early detection, screening, preparedness, non-pharmaceutical interventions, decision support, data harmonization, and medical countermeasure development. It also says OpenAI will sponsor access and provide launch support for qualified teams building public benefit biosecurity tools. This is exactly the kind of AI deployment that needs a careful tone. On the upside, AI could help public health teams move faster before a biological threat becomes a crisis. Read literature, compare protocols, simulate response plans, and help experts triage signals. On the risk side, life science reasoning is sensitive because better biological design capability can be misused. OpenAI's framing is a trusted access model. Approve developers and government or allied partners with public health and biodefense missions, not a general consumer release. The significance is that frontier AI labs are beginning to formalize domain-specific access programs instead of treating every capability as either fully closed or fully public. Next, Hugging Face published a practical robotics update. Reachy Mini can now run its conversation stack locally. The post says that previously, talking to the robot required sending audio to a server. Now the walkthrough shows a local speech-to-speech setup built as a cascade: voice activity detection, speech-to-text, LLM, and text-to-speech. The recommended stack includes llama.cpp with Gemma 4, Celero VAD, Parakeet 0.6b v3 for streaming speech recognition, and Qwen 3 TTS for speech output. This matters because robot interaction is personal. Audio from a home, classroom, office, or lab can contain names, routines, background conversations, and sensitive context. Hugging Face's post explicitly says the local setup means no cloud, no API keys, and no data leaving the machine. It also makes the system more hackable. You can swap the VAD, STT, LLM, or TTS layer as better open models appear. For builders, the takeaway is that open robotics is converging with open voice agents. The robot is not just a hardware demo. It is becoming a small local AI stack. The nerdiest story today is also one of the most important for people training agents. Hugging Face's TRL team wrote about Delta Weight Sync, a way to avoid shipping the entire model from the trainer to the inference engine after every reinforcement learning step. Their post says a 7B BF16 model is about 14 gigabytes, and a frontier 1 trillion parameter checkpoint is on the order of a terabyte. That transfer can sit directly on the critical path, meaning GPUs wait instead of generating tokens. The trick is that between adjacent RL optimizer steps, most BF16 weights are bit identical. Hugging Face says roughly 99% are unchanged, and never less than 98% in their worst case. So their implementation encodes only the changed elements as a sparse safetensors file, uploads it to a Hugging Face bucket, and lets VLLM fetch it. In their Qwen 3-0.6b example, the per step payload drops from 1.2 gigabytes to about 20 to 35 megabytes. That is not a shiny chatbot feature, but it is the kind of plumbing that makes large-scale agent training more practical. Now the reality check. Artificial Analysis and IBM launched ITBench-AA, a benchmark for agentic enterprise IT tasks, starting with site reliability engineering. The tasks involve Kubernetes incident response, where models have to inspect alerts, events, traces, metrics, logs, and application topology, then identify the minimal set of independent root cause Kubernetes entities behind an incident. According to the benchmark post, frontier models are still below 50% on these tasks. The published key findings say Claude Opus 4.7 with adaptive reasoning and max effort leads at 47%, followed by GPT 5.5 at 46% and Qwen 3.7 max at 42%. The post also says turn counts varied almost 3 times, and longer trajectories did not translate to higher accuracy. That is the point. Real enterprise operations are not solved by a model simply thinking longer. The agent needs the right tools, state, constraints, observability, and judgment about when it has found a root cause instead of a symptom. GitHub Trending adds the Builder Pulse. Today's page shows Money Printer Turbo, Claude Code, Cursor plugins, Agent Harness projects, LightParse, VoxCPM, MOSTTS, and other AI-heavy repositories moving. Money Printer Turbo describes a workflow that can generate short video scripts, materials, subtitles, background music, and HD video from a topic or keyword, with both vertical 9:16 and horizontal 16:9 formats. LightParse is a fast open-source document parser. VoxCPM positions itself around tokenizer-free TTS for multilingual speech generation, creative voice design, and voice cloning. The pattern is useful. Creators do not only want video models, they want complete pipelines that script, source media, caption, narrate, and export. RAG builders do not only want a bigger context window, they need better document ingestion and parsing. Voice builders do not only want a hosted API, they want local, multilingual, customizable speech. So GitHub Trending is not proof that every repo is production ready. It is a market signal. People are pulling AI into workflows, not just demos. This also connects to Mistral's Search Toolkit announcement from earlier this week. Mistral describes it as a composable open-source framework for production search pipelines, bringing ingestion, retrieval, and evaluation under a shared interface. That fits today's theme. The hard part is not just calling a model. The hard part is making the surrounding system reliable enough that the model can use the right data at the right moment, and then measuring whether the answer is actually grounded. The takeaway for May 30th, AI news is becoming less about one single model drop and more about deployment surfaces. OpenAI is creating scoped access for sensitive life science defense. Hugging Face is making robot conversation local. TRL is reducing the hidden cost of RL training loops. IBM and artificial analysis are showing that frontier agents still struggle on realistic enterprise IT work. And GitHub Trending shows builders stitching AI into video, documents, speech, and code. That is the direction of travel. Less magic box, more operating layer. There is a safety through line across today's stories. Rosalind Biodefense is not being framed as a public toy. It is scoped to trusted developers and qualified public health partners. ITBench-AA is not measuring whether a model can sound smart about Kubernetes. It is measuring whether an agent can identify the minimal independent root causes in a messy incident. Those two details rhyme. As AI systems get closer to consequential work, the product is not only the model. The product is the access policy, the audit trail, the evaluation, the tool boundary, and the recovery path when the model is wrong. For builders, the move is to pick the stack layer you actually control. If you are building robots or voice agents, local speech loops are suddenly much more practical, and privacy becomes a feature you can prove. If you are building agent training systems, the boring transfer layer can decide whether your GPUs are busy or idle. If you are building RAG, document parsing and search evaluation are not side quests. They are the difference between a grounded system and a confident hallucination machine. The strongest teams will not just ask which model is best. They will ask which layer of the system is currently weakest. The watch list from here is clear. First, look for more controlled access programs in sensitive domains like biosecurity, medicine, finance, and critical infrastructure. Second, watch whether local robotics and local voice agents become easy enough for normal developers to customize, not just specialists. Third, watch enterprise benchmarks. The next agent race will not be won only on chat quality. It will be won on whether the system can stop investigating, name the right cause, make the right change, and leave evidence behind. That is where AI gets useful and also where the real risk shows up.